2020 Virtual Hong Kong Open Source Conference. I'm Calvin, Vice President of the Open Source Hong Kong. So first of all, this year is our 10th anniversary of HKOSCon. Looking back, we have delivered close to 300 sessions with over 2,000 attendees in the past 10 years. And we could not able to achieve that much without the support from our speakers, our sponsors, and most importantly, from each of you. We are looking forward to meeting you in person again when we are able to return to the physical conference in 2023. Before we start, there are a few housekeeping updates. We welcome everyone to join our lightning talk at the end of the day, around 5. Each session will be for 5 minutes. If you have any topics to share today, please leave it in the form. You may check out the QR code or type the link for applying lightning talk. And then if you're missing this slide, you can check the Eventbrite email or scan this QR code. By the way, for the normal session, we have 25 minutes for the presentation and 5 minutes for the Q&A session. For the detail for this today's schedule, you may check above link 2022.hkoscon.org/schedule. And like before, we are offering a job board service this year. If your company is hiring, feel free to use our job board on the right-hand side QR code to post your vacancy and attract great talent. Lastly, your feedback is the key motivator to drive us to be better each year. For the left-hand side QR code, you can fill the survey form at the end of the event to let us know what you think about this year and what topic you would like to learn more about in the future. Both links are already posted in the Eventbrite on last hour invitation. You may check the email detail for it. So without ado, let's welcome our conference chair, Sammy Fong, President of the Open Source Hong Kong, to make an opening speech. Welcome, Sammy.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. So hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm Sammy. So thank you for your attending the Hong Kong Open Source Conference 2022 this morning. So it is not easy to organize a conference during the pandemic with unpredictable restriction. So I started with a plan for an in-person conference in December, but it is replaced by an online conference plan in January. Okay, share my screen. Okay, so in this morning, in the today conference, we will have 8 sessions on single chat. After this opening, Edison Wong will share with us about the Kubernetes project, which is a DevOps open source project from Hong Kong and submitted as a cloud native computing foundations sandbox project. This morning, we will have 2 other sessions about data analytics with Python and building an open source smart home. So after the lunch break, we will also have 4 other sessions and some lightning talk about AI in education, DevOps for open source projects, database security, and DevOps platform built with Terraform and TypeScript. About the lightning talk sessions, you can now submit your topics to Google Form, so you can also find the link on the website as well. It is under the schedule. Sorry. Yes, is on the top of the schedule. So you can find the Lightning Talk applications form and also the list of Lightning Talk as well. And you can find the job board link on our website. And also, I would like to thank for our collaborators, MySQL, Amazon Web Service, and Microsoft as well. And also thanks for our volunteer teams from Open Source Hong Kong, from Hong Kong Creative Open Technology Associations, and Hong Kong Names User Group as well. So we hope you enjoy today's conference. Thank you. So I pass the floor to Kelvin.
Oh, Michelle again. Okay, thank you, Sammy. Next, I would like to introduce our keynote speaker, Edison Wong from PantaRei Design. Edison topics is AlviStack, Hong Kong-based Kubernetes distribution. AlviStack is a Hong Kong-based Kubernetes distribution passing the Cloud-Native Computing Foundation Kubernetes Conformance Test, and now submit as a CNCF sandbox project. This workshop will explain how AlviStack work, provide a quick demo with Kubernetes deployment, and discuss on the ongoing public contribution roadmap. May I pass it over to you, Edison?
All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for Kelvin, and also thank you for sending introduction. Okay, so maybe let me share the screen. Okay. So sorry. Okay. So maybe before start, I would like to have a little bit show off. Okay. Anyway, we are talking about the 10 years of open source conference in Hong Kong. At least I have still a T-shirt that is since 2013. So please remember that I'm seeking for this year T-shirt too. Okay, I need to put it into my collection. Okay. So anyway, so let me give some quick introduction about myself to you all. All right. And also this topic. Okay. So okay, we could see it. That's great. All right. So first of all, a little bit introduction for myself. Okay, I would like to say that I'm a Hong Kong-based developer and also a contributor and open source speaker since I guess 2008 something in Barcamp Hong Kong 2008. And then even for the last 2 years or 3 years, I'm also keep on sharing something related to this AlviStack during the open source conference. Okay, so maybe I would also like to say that I'm one of the active contributor in GitHub in Hong Kong. Okay, so this is something that, okay, for example, this is the case that in 2020 that we have the open source conference in Cyberport with video conferencing. Okay, and here is also some GitHub contributor in statistic in for Hong Kong user. Okay, or maybe do you know that now today you could find a skyline from GitHub that how many contributions that you have been done. I would like to say that most of those crazy commit are going to for this AlviStack project, which those DevOps, Ansible, packaging, and so on and so on. Okay, so let me first of all give you some outline. So let's define what. Let's give you some overview about what is AlviStack. But honestly, I'm also feel a little bit confusing sometimes when I need to discuss and also present what is AlviStack to the audience. Okay, then I would like to tell you how it works, and also from Hong Kong's user point of view, why you should give a try to AlviStack. And finally, I will for sure there's some quick demo, and then some ongoing roadmap sharing. Okay, so I would like to say that AlviStack is a first Hong Kong-based Kubernetes distribution because most contributor for CNCF come at least from Southeast Asia point of view. There is around 60 members from China and around 2 members that is certified member in Taiwan, but 0 in Singapore, and for sure that's 0 from Hong Kong. So now we are submitting as a CNCF Conformance Test pass the project to asking for a membership. in order to able to join some worldwide contribution, but not just grouped it in Hong Kong based but focusing on worldwide user and so on. So actually all AlviStack foundation are based on some DevOps deployment with Ansible. So later on you'll able to also see that my demo is coming from some Ansible based deployment. Okay, so on the other hand, is that it's just a we talk about submitting as a sandbox project. Is it just a sandbox like, or is it production ready like project? Actually, it's already production ready for I guess more than 2 or 3 years with a continuous improvement. And this distribution also quite independent in OS and also the infrastructure, which I will also show you later. And one of the key points is, yes, it is backed by my own company and also my customers' project. But by the way, actually the project code itself is hosted in GitHub and totally Apache License 2.0. And so you could feel free to just grab it and use it and fork it or give me a pull request or whatever you like. Okay, so give you some basic statistics. Okay, nowadays we have around 700 something of package that we have been built for making this stack, this Kubernetes stack to be able to run it. What means the package? For example, when you're running with Red Hat and then therefore you have the yum install and then you have Debian and then you have the apt-get install. We are talking about we package a lot of Kubernetes related package from the tube train into a redeployable manner. On the other hand, we also have some Wagon box for assisting our deployment. So across our 16 supported OS and so on. So here is now how many OS that AlviStack could support. So most likely, I would like to say the 3 popular family, that is Ubuntu based or Red Hat based or OpenSUSE based. Okay, so here is some screen sharing about the project. Okay, I would like to a little bit amend about my wording that it is going to be submitted as a sandbox project, but anyway, we are still working in progress about being confirmed as a CNCF member according to the payment, overseas payment. Okay, anyway, so here is our open build service package repository that I will give you more information later. Okay, for example, also the Ansible role that deployed to Ansible Garrison, Wagon box, and then some Docker Hubs image. Okay, so okay, we have already talked about it. Okay, so whenever the membership being approved, then I guess most likely we could shortlist our AlviStack into this certified Kubernetes distribution list, so that we could show to the worldwide that some project that is really Hong Kong based and now is also production ready for you. Okay, so I talk about some progress that, for example, how many numbers of OS package and also how many Ansible role or Ansible collection or something else, but actually how it works. Okay, so traditionally, installing Kubernetes is a little bit complicated because their official repo is conflict with the CRIO repository right now because they are not carrying between each other. On the other hand, they may also provide you a static binary installation method, but finally, a static binary installation method is a nightmare for system administrator because you couldn't keep track the version changes and also the file configuration file changes and so on and so on. On the other hand, sometimes they also providing some broken package dependency. For example, they just mainly focus on some latest stable release of OS. But if you are having a client that asking for a SandOS 7 or asking for Ubuntu 18.04, then sometimes you couldn't find the suitable package to train and the corresponding installation method. So keep on scratching my head. Okay. So finally, my solution is managing our stack, RPM and DEP packaging with the open build service. Okay, because they have a very very mature mechanism for building package and also redistributing it. And also even if you have tried once about managing your own package repository, then you will know that it's not just talk about build, it's also talk about dependency, and then you also talk about distribution, package signing, and so on and so on. A lot of nightmare. So here we are using the OBS in order to support, for example, you could see that in Kubernetes now we could support recently 3 to 4 version of the Kubernetes with multiple minor patch or patch release. Why we need to do so? Because sometimes when you install the latest version of Kubernetes, you will find that actually it's broken, so you need to roll back. But installing from some other else official channel, maybe making you just headache. All right. On the other hand, so once we already well manage the package with OBS, we could even pre-package everything for installing Ansible, which is a Python-based DevOps deployment tool, and also Kubernetes, which is a Golang-based tool, and also CLIO and even Puppet and so on. Sometimes some legacy OS also missing some package, and then okay, we don't wait, and then we just package it the latest stable version for them accordingly. And on the other hand, we also found that a lot of bugs could be found from those upstream packages. We push everything into the latest version. So again, don't wait. We just bug report to the upstream, but then we hotfix it for our OBS package immediately, because our Hong Kong-based client couldn't wait about it after 2 or 3 months waiting for upstream fixing. You couldn't wait for it. Okay. By the way, once we migrate traditional installation method into our own self-hosted OBS packaging mechanism, then no matter the package delivery, our dependency management, and also bug fix and so on, quick simplified it. Okay. For example, this is one of the example how to install the Ansible right now. Just simply add those repository into your Ubuntu 22.04, and then just say apt-get, add update, apt update, and then apt install, and then you'll get everything with the latest version together with you. Crazily, I update all the package to train daily. So whenever I found a new package release, within my tube train, then I'll just update according. Yes, within the 700 something package. Okay, so later on, let's talk about, okay, we already able to solve the software delivery, the deployment. Then next we talk about deployment with some DevOps tools. But you will also find that another headache from open source project, and that's always happened. For example, in Kubernetes, we have Kubespy for Ansible-based deployment. For Chef FS, we also have the Chef Ansible from the official Chef party. But again, these two types of Ansible deployment will conflict each other. So again, another nightmare. And on the other hand, when you would like to split the corresponding component from this kind of Kubespy or Chef Ansible and reduce their role independently, you will also find that it is quite difficult because they are not carrying each other. So finally, you will only able to have a all or nothing mechanism to use their solution. On the other hand, again, some OS are lacking of general support. So finally, again, don't wait. We try to create all of the Ansible role. We try to copycat. First of all, we copycat from Kubespy and stuff, but then we break down all of the Ansible role into independent components, well tested, and then we assemble it. So we assemble it for bare metal deployment or VM-based deployment with Ansible collection, so that all the collection that we're using our breakdown the Ansible role. And then on the other hand, we also have the Wigan box and also some Docker image. When we feel that we also try to reuse our Ansible role to Docker them. Okay. Moreover, with such kind of implementations, now we could support a Kubernetes deployment with CLIO, so no longer any Docker, and then also update with Cilium, which is now a eBPF based solution with layer 7 based English policy and so on. And then we also have CSI Chef as the PVC, and then that's why we could support read-write manually for our container. For sure that you will also need English and Linux for reverse proxy and also HTTPS, and then the short manager. Okay, you were able to get the less and quick capability. All of such kind of support are now out of the box, and then just simply click and go, and you will have it. Okay. So next, we have the package, we have the deployment. Then we also need to test it, because we couldn't just bring our code into the customer and then just test ad hoc with live and production, and they will just give me a punch. Okay, so we need to test it in advance. But testing Chef and also Kubernetes is a little bit complicated, because Chef test, when you need to test it, you need to have some raw device. You couldn't just mock it up with Docker. On the other hand, for Kubernetes deployment, you also need to have C group support and also network stack support and so on and so on. So sometimes you need to have some tricky workaround in case you have Docker-based solution. Okay, finally, when we are talking about a cluster-based testing, then for sure that you need to set up multiple instances. But most of the CI platform couldn't provide you such kind of multi-instance-based cluster solution unless you do a self-hosted CI runner. So finally, what we did is, okay, first of all, we put our code into GitHub, at least for a better open source-based platform integration. For example, able to publish our Ansible role to Ansible Galaxy and so on. But later we found that GitHub actions are not such really user-friendly, especially for self-hosted CI runner. So finally, we bridge the GitHub code to our corporate GitLab CI, and so that GitLab CI will act as our CI agent. Okay, so by the way, as I just mentioned, that we also need some non-Docker-based CI solution, so that we are now running a self-hosted GitLab runner inside our own office, and then supporting a nested virtualization, and so on. Okay, so now everything is Wagenbox-based, VM-based testing. So here, for example, some pipeline that is sent to GitLab, and then the GitLab trigger our own machine, so that you could see some information in the bottom that is a waken up a provisioned box that with all the children that we need for running our test. And then finally, here is our server inside our office that are running 12 instances simultaneously. So honestly, now what my bottleneck is talk about our outgoing bandwidth into the public internet. If I could have a better bandwidth, I could even run 24 instances or even more instances together. Okay. So now, on the other hand, for when we talk about CI and dev, sometimes people just totally rely on the cloud-based solution. So they just simply commit their code without tested locally, and then pray that the CI runner will able to make it pass. But that is extremely time consuming and wasting the public resources, right? So that our CI testers are also decided for able to run locally, independently. So as long as you have for example, Ubuntu 2.0.04 or 2.2.04, and then you can set up the corresponding tutoring, let's say the KVM for virtualization, and also Ansible and Molecule and so on. Then you can run everything locally. Okay, so back to one of the original topic. We are a Hong Kong-based solution. So why we name it as Hong Kong-based? Because first of all, I guess everyone will understand it. Maintaining a open source project in Hong Kong is not easy, because we need to talk about how to make it survival, right? So if you are just making it as a side project, then sometimes your lack of contributor and then is low for development, and then finally you may outdate accordingly because you are too slow. On the other hand, if you are asking for donation, some popular open source project in worldwide always seeking for donation and something else, but actually no one really supporting that. Because if you're asking for donation, seems like it's not such enforced, right? But by the way, okay, let's say the money is not such dirty. We really need that money to keep us running our project, so that we're facing the commercial needs, and then so to provide a commercial-based, service-based solution. So could that work? Again, it works because you could able to get the money directly from the client, but then you also need to face their anger daily. All right, but by the way, AlviStack choose the third method so that we keep on deploying as a continuous improved, enhanced version with a Kubernetes-based solution to our customers since 2017. That's why, but by the way, our Hong Kong customer is actually not asking for Kubernetes deployment. They're asking for something, for example, post deployment for the website or the Jira or the GitLab or some other thing else. So actually, they don't care about how you make it work. They just care about their application are able to run smoothly. But by the way, later on with this, we're also able to provide something like hourly snapshot, and also we understand Hong Kong customer. Sometimes when you're asking them for 10 machines at the beginning, for something of customer with multi-master and resilient, they will say, too costly. Could we first of all give you one machine, and then you could give me a single all-in-one dev box for mockup and so on? All right, okay. So finally, we even designed our minimal requirement into just 2 core and a gig memory and so on and so on. But it's also able to scale up accordingly. Okay, here, let me show you something. For example, a package distributor that I'm keep on using for more than 5 years, that they package the latest Apache version or the latest PHP version for Ubuntu. But for example, this developer, I keep on finding that they asking for donation for many years, but seldom, around just below 10 people for such kind of donation. Another guy that I would like to say that as like as my senior, that he also packaged numbers of package into for Ubuntu. But by the way, he also get angry that no one even donate for him. Maybe even less than 1%, less than 1% of user, active users that are using and donating. So we need to find some way to self-fitness. All right. So here is also the special use case for Hong Kong. Because you never understand and never able to predict how the user provide you the infrastructure and the OS. Because we all understand that now we need public cloud or something else, but some users are still using bare metal or even VMware, ESXi, and so on. And sometimes when they're now moving into the public cloud, for sure that they will also rely on maybe EKS or AKS or something else. That because there is a hosted service, so they think that is much reliable and stable. So you need to think about a fusion and hybrid solution to working together with them. All right. Finally, especially the OS. I guess I would like to share a story that, for example, one of some China-based company giving me a message that they would like to migrate from Red Hat to OpenSUSE in order to prevent being blocked by the trade war or something else and something. So even the OS itself is sometimes not able to be chosen by the customer directly, maybe chosen by their headquarters and so on and so on. So for Hong Kong use case, we need to face many different kind of combination. So that's also what I'm talking about. They don't really care about how you make it work, but so they are not asking Kubernetes directly, but you need to giving them a solution that are already production ready. But with a trials the combo of the infrastructure and OS provider, like there. All right. Okay, but by the way, AlviStack always also solved it within the last 2 or 3 years with such kind of challenge. On the other hand, that's why we only asking for something very basic. Please feel free to give me a VM or bare metal with standard CPU, memory, disk, and networking. And even for networking, some of the customers are using the corporate network. That's why they need to have the outgoing HTTPS for connectivity. Okay, we also support it. And also, that's why we are talking about OS independent. So besides just the recent latest stable LTS of OS, for example, Ubuntu 22.04 just released 2 months ago, we also support those still supported LTS OS, for example, Ubuntu 18.04 and 2.0.04. But by the way, you will find that quite silly. Is that crazy? Are you crazy? Are you kidding me? That you are also supporting Debian testing? Why you're doing that? Okay, On the other hand, we even support Fedora, Warhigh, and also OpenSUSE Chopperwheel. Why you need to do that? Because for example, when the Ubuntu 22.04 are released, I could provide the Kubernetes Conformance Test result based on 22.04 just within 3 days, because we are already using and also keep on testing with the upstream rolling release, so that we are already well prepared for their ongoing changes and so on. So that's why we finally make the OS support matrix into 16 OSs. Okay, absolutely silly and nonsense. On the other hand, okay, it looks like so crazy, but the initial requirement is very simple. Just 2 core and 8 gig memory, and then with each requirement, you are already able to run with CFFS and Kubernetes, so everything are ready for production. On the other hand, do you need to have anything about numbers of paper of document or wiki or readme or installation guideline, and then check the corresponding parameter and blah 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 in order to make it kickstart? No. Everything are already auto detected, including the host name, this size, network interface, and so on and so on. I make it as simple, as silly as a dummy dev into 0 configuration for about minimal deployment. But for sure that in production use case, you need to enlarge some parameter. For example, CFFS, cache memory, and then maybe you have 2 network interface that you need to specify the especially, or even sometime in AWS, you could have jumbo theme support, so that you would like to make the network become high performance. Everything could be configured through Ansible, and then just change the parameter, override, and then just deploy, and then you go. But if you found something not confident, just roll back to the default, and then it will most likely fail safe. Okay, so finally, it's also quite cost effective from Hong Kong point of view, because it's 100% open source. And then you may also ask it, oh, you talk about you need to serving the customer, so what's the story? What you're talking about, we are providing some paid management service. For example, some of the clients asking us to using AWS with consolidated billing account, and then running their VM inside the dedicated account, and then set up the Kubernetes, and then set up the Jira, the Confluence for them. Actually, from their point of view, they are using the Jira and Confluence, but they provide us the annual hosting cost, annual hosting free, and then the annual maintenance free, and then doing the monthly update service for them, and so on and so on. So actually, for the project itself, it is totally open source. Feel free to grab it and then just copy it, and then you just use it. But that is Apache license 2.0, so that's why at least you please don't reuse my brand mark. Okay, my trademark. By the way, with such kind of broader OS support, so we are also providing some unified user experience. No matter you have one machine, or no matter you have 30 machine, no matter you're running on AWS or running on bare metal, we give you a same 0 config default user experience. And that's why finally you will also understand that, because we don't choose infrastructure and we don't choose OS. So that's why I'm not forcing you to have any vendor login with a specific infrastructure. Why I'm talking about this? For example, some dev would like to use Red Hat OpenShift, but first of all, you couldn't deploy the OpenShift into other OS, for example, Ubuntu or OpenSUSE. And then sometimes you're also even not able to deploy, or maybe a little bit difficult because they say that not official support, the Oracle Linux or the Rocky Linux, something like that. So in Ubuntu, you may have the Michael K8S, but again, it's Ubuntu based. And then in OpenSUSE, you have Kubernetes. Then if you choose that solution, then most likely you couldn't shift into another OS or another infrastructure simply. But in our case, you just feel free to choose, and feel free to reuse your existing resources. That's all. Okay, so let's give a quick demo. But we all understand that quick demo always coming with a full stream of dev. Okay, so if there's something happen, please just set me free. All right, let's do some. Okay, first of all, how to get it started with that demo. Here is the Ansible collection for Kubernetes, so it's already full of our Ansible role in it. So independent components are already pre-tested accordingly, and then now they mix and match and fusion into a collection, so that you could one click and go and use it. So first of all, simply go and grab the source code. Here's some general procedure, for example, how to set up the response tree. for deployment and then install Bootstrap with Ansible. Okay, you may already saw this, right? Just add 2 lines into the package list, and then now you could install the Ansible, and then you could have it. For example, here. All right. Okay, so the Ansible is ready. The Molecule is ready. Molecule is a testing framework for running Ansible-based tests. Okay, that's why we write the test case also with Ansible. Okay, so next is about, let's check. Next is about, okay, now assume that the host is already ready. So we have the KVM. Now here's the KVM. Oh, yeah, the machine are already pre-provisioned because I don't want to waste the time for demo. Okay, so sorry. So now let's try to run the test. Here you could see a Molecule folder, and here we define the corresponding test case. And actually how the test case architect, for example, is a wagon-based, okay, wagon-based, also a KVM-based test case. And then now here we have, for example, the first machine, the second machine, and the third machine. It will help me to provision by using wagon. And then they will deploy the corresponding Kubernetes into that VM accordingly. Okay, so how to take this start? Let's say those here have already been running once, so that the speed will be much faster. So here, if you have some experience about Ansible, here is some typical Ansible output that you could find that they keep on confirming rather that package is already installed and so on and so on. On the other hand, within my notebook now is running with that free instance. Okay, let me give some show off here. All right. For example, because this is already a provisioned Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so here we have 3 nodes, 2 running in master and 1 running in node, a worker node, and then also all in 1.23 version. And then, okay, because Ansible deployment is a little bit time consuming, so let's keep going. On the other hand, we are talking about we support, here we already show that it is running with CLIO. Okay, with CLIO. How about the CNI? So you will find that it's now running with Cilium, and with the even test with Cilium test. So let's see whether the network stack is truly functioning. On the other hand, you could also find that from the backend, here the Ansible role is Ansible collection is still running, and everything is green in color. Why is already green in color? Because we already won it once, and that's why now it's in the confirmation style. If they don't need to have any change, everything are already as expected status, and then it will just give you an OK, a green signal, and so on. One of the key significant difference when compared with Kisfire or Chef Ansible is I also get mad with their deployment because once we run in the second round, they still provide you some line in yellow, which is still in change the state and so on. But here we try to carefully craft our Ansible role and deployment so that finally when you run the second round, most likely it will just keep on reporting you everything are okay, and make you feel confident. So slow. Okay. Almost. Anyway, maybe let's first of all go to the final slide. Let's have some idea about the ongoing roadmap because the time almost there. Okay, so the ongoing roadmap. Oh. Wow, what's it doing? Oh.
I can see the screen, yeah.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Okay, maybe for the ongoing roadmap. Okay, so just now we are working in progress for submitting the and join as the CNCF members, so that we are going to submitting our project as a sandbox project, so that able to ask for more contributor and also more cooperative work and so on. On the other hand, in order to keep on making it continuous development and also continuous improvement, we need to be honest, asking for revenue. Okay, that's why we will also make this project backed by a new company called AlviStack, so that we could provide a paid service for our customer accordingly. And on the other hand, because our company itself, the PantaRei design is now already as a Hong Kong Science Park incubator since or a talent since 2011. So then now we are, after that 10 years, we are all now going to submit this new company as another round incubation. On the other hand, as like as what I just showed to you that two open source contributors that keep on working in packaging, OS packaging, but looking for donation or something else, we also plan to contact them and give them a hand and say that, would you like to give a try for our AlviStack mechanism? If you would like to contribute your existing progress in under our umbrella, maybe we could give you some continuous monthly sponsorship, so that let's make the open source project not just for hobby or as a side project, but able to really find some way to make it profitable. Okay. On the other hand, we are also thinking about partnering with Open Source Hong Kong and also CNCF China for some community-based event, no matter the training session, the workshop, or even forming some working group together in order to have some focused development, in order to serve our Hong Kong-based customers' specific needs. I mean that the child's environment. Okay. So finally, maybe even some case study sharing. Try to invite the customer or maybe even some vendor, other Kubernetes user to share some idea and so on with each other. Okay. Anyways, let's have a chat about the demo. Okay. So from the demo point of view, the Cilium, the network is already done, and then from
could you make it bigger?
Bigger.
Yeah, the font is quite.
Okay, like this.
Yeah.
Okay. So for Cilium, because Cilium is ready, and then we also need to run. What's happening? 10 error. From the backend is still running. Data. For example, this is a tool for running CNCF Conformance Test. If all of the tests, that 300 something tests is passed, and then we could submit that package, the Conformance Test log to CNCF, and then asking them to have the confirmation. For example, here, we could grab the log. We could grab these two log, and then as a pull request to CNCF, and then also with some document, also with some logo, also with some installation guideline, as like as what I'm just demoing. And then if everything passed, then they would asking you to join as member in case you are a profit-making company. That's why you need to pay for the membership fee and then being interviewed by some community member, confirm that you are really a open source based project, but not just want to make money or something else. Okay, anyway, so let's have a look about the, okay, anyway, the test is already done. Okay, so here, let me just give you some quick overview. For example, here we deploy the Kubernetes master node, and then also we deploy some of the Kubernetes node to join the cluster. And then finally, we could also deploy the Cilium as the network plugin. So here we deploy the Cilium, and then it run. And then we also double check whether the Kubernetes status are ready. As like as what I just showed to you with this one. Right. So kickstart with this Ansible collection is quite simple. What you need to do is just, first of all, you have the code. On the other hand, you have the Ansible, you have the molecule, you have the QEMU and the LVVRT as well as, oh, sorry. Hey, what's happening? Okay, as well as here. Then you could simply kickstart your test and then give it a try. Or even if you would like to just, I don't even want to install too much stuff, could I just simply fire it up with a Waken up? Yes, we also provide a Waken box that already pre-packaged everything. And then you just Waken up, and then with no matter VirtualBox or no matter with KVM, then you already have a self-hosted box that with Kubernetes ready for you. Okay, anyway, so most likely this is what I have been prepared, and maybe Kevin, maybe Q&A section. Okay. Sorry, a little bit early about this presentation.
Hi. Is that okay? Sorry. First of all, so it's okay. So that I know that GitHub has a service. Someone can be donate for the project. You may click check it out. See any sponsorship can make for your AlviStack.
But I would like to say that as like as what I just showed you that two case study, people seldom donate.
Yeah. But just put the pocket in here and then if someone asks you, you can post it. Yeah. Does any
okay.
Does anyone have a question for Edison related topic? Scotty want to ask, he said, hi Edison friend, can you tell us what are the challenges you faced in making the OS project commercially viable in Hong Kong?
The most important part is, again, that's what I have mentioned here. The customer not really care about how you architect their solution. For example, this slide, this is the most important challenge. They don't care about how you make that with disaster recovery ready 99.99% SLA, but they even just sometimes give you just a single machine, but asking for 99.99 SLA.
Just like surface as a surface.
then they say that
Edison as a service.
Yes, exactly. Then they're asking for a 7x 24 hours in 2 hour initial response time and asking you please give me 99.99% service. Silly. Or sometimes even a customer telling me that give me a 1 business day initial support service contract, but asking me for that 4/9 SLA with just a single machine. So the most challenge in Hong Kong is usually what they're expected and what their budget is not synchronized. It's not actually synchronized. So how to make it more price and performance ratio, good in performance ratio is the most challenge. And how to make ourselves keep alive, not yet die, okay? And keep improving is the most important topic. So that's why I'm talking about, I try not to rely on donation. I try to solve our customer challenge daily. And then they keep on having such kind of monthly update maintenance. And sometimes I'm telling them that it's just a patch maintenance update, but then actually I'm doing the Kubernetes version upgrade for them. Okay, so we need to do in this way in order to keep improving our product. So the most challenge is
separate the maintenance.
Yes,
and
keep on reducing our. Yes, that's why finally we're asking for a zero-based configuration. Yes. Another challenge is I'm not easy to able to find someone to as my coworker inside my office to keep on doing such kind of silly work. Just silly and boring work. Because many maintenance that 700 something OS package is extremely boring daily, because every day I just check whether there is some package update, and then I will repackage it and push it into OBS and build. And then if that looks not good, and then I will just publish and do the bug report and so on. Extremely boring. So from Hong Kong, I seldom able to find a staff that's able to keep continuously running for that more than 2 years. So finally, I need to make it as dummy, as silly as possible with zero config report. So I just hand over the code to my member, the newcomer, and then they just go and deploy, and that is, and then they could do the monthly maintenance for me. That's it. So that could be make it more easy to become profitable.
Okay. I have two questions. Want to round up.
Okay.
Edison, how do you compare AlviStack with GKE?
Oh, okay, good question. Because for GKE or AKS or EKS or something else, sometimes they will also introduce you to using their own other else posted service. But for example, in Azure AKS, one of the challenge is that this is the PVC is provided by Azure files, which is a sandbox-based solution. So finally, that is actually, they claim that there is read-write menu, but that is not POSIX supported. So sometimes, and even in the Azure AKS, they are originally based on Ubuntu 16.04, and then now it's keep on upgrading and something. So sometimes if you're looking for some more modern and more mature solution, those hosting platforms may be not such simple. And sometimes they asking you to provision a machine that is more than what you really need for, according to some of their regulation and boundary and so on. So how we compare is we try to provide you a no vendor lock-in solution. So do you need to use the AWS EKS? No, you just need to use the AWS EC2, and then you provide some very simple VM as resources, and then we do everything for you in a software-defined version. And then you can also replicate that kind of deployment from cloud and also to your local test bed and also maybe your private cloud. So they keep a synchronized user experience. You don't need to keep on shipping and shipping.
Okay. For another question from Hyphen, I think it's similar from Ben. But here's a question from Hyphen is that how to get in touch with you? And then he find that your website is down, and then you have any contact info, and then obviously you can find Open Source Hong Kong to we have some event with Edison, and by the way you can directly contact him. Yeah, here's the contact information.
Yeah, contact us information, because now we have, that's why I'm talking about after 2 or 3 years incubation of this project, now we are forming a company and also submit into CNCF and make it more officially. So website is not yet up. Honestly, website is not yet up, but the GitHub project is still on running for more than 5 years and something else, and so on.
Yeah. Okay. That's it, because we have already overrun that, and then
sorry.
We would like, yeah, it's okay. But we always have fun. I will share the screen. We heard that always heard that there's CNCF Cognitive Computing Foundation in this keynote, so that we have invited the director of the CNCF APAC, Keith Chan, to have a quick session for Kubernetes is everywhere. So Keith, are you available right now?